Okay, set on set. Good morning, viewer. In this tutorial, I'm going to be attempting theory for Wakissha Advanced Level Senior 6 that was done last week as a mock exam. Now, in this video, the cover photo that's available is right here. The picture I have just opened. The picture you see at your screen is the cover photo that's going to be available for this video. Now this video follows a lot of videos. Now the video is about Subsidiary ICT Paper 1 Wakissha approach for August 2025. This paper was done the last week. So I was saying that this video follows a number of videos I've done in the previous days. Yesterday I uploaded some videos. This one is about this video. If you look at my channel, the current videos I've uploaded 23 hours ago, a day ago, 6 days ago, etc. So those videos are about Wakissha papers that were done last week. And if you need to see the approach of those numbers I'm trying to do, go to those videos and watch, then do some learning. So this one is about paper 3, PowerPoint and word processing. This one is about paper 3, database and PowerPoint. This one is about paper 2, spreadsheet and database. And this one is about a resource theory paper that was also done by candidates, the current year. So feel free to go and watch those videos. There are a couple of videos I've done. Apart from those, there are many videos I've done. This one was S4, the video I did 2 weeks ago. This one is also a resource paper, PowerPoint, etc. There are very many videos at my channel. Depending on what you want, you can go and select a video you can watch. You could get the support folders. You can get a cup of tea, and then you follow what I'm doing, provided you have internet and a computer. Back to the reason as to why I'm recording this. This video is about Wakissha Subsidiary ICT Paper 1. So we're going to be talking theory right now in this tutorial. So I want to just go straight to the paper that the learners did as theory, and then I see what was supposed to be done at that paper. Yeah, this was the paper. It was looking like this. The video was done. My video has been done on 21st August 2025, and it's Subsidiary ICT Paper 1 Wakissha. That's supposed to be done in 2 hours 30 minutes, and the questions are 20, and each question carries 5 scores. So I'm going to be doing the 20 questions in this video so that I can educate you, the viewer. So straight away, I want to go to the first number. The first number of this paper was this one here. So it is number 1. Number 1 is right here. So number 1, the learners were asked to give 2 components that are found on the computer motherboard, and the scores were 2. So some of the components that are found on the computer motherboard include computer ports, CMOS battery, memory slots, RAM, etc. So computer motherboard has a lot of parts on it. If I'm to use my if I'm to use my internet here, if I'm to use my internet here, and then I can research about a computer motherboard. Let me add a tab since I was interfering with my recording software. So let me add a tab, and then I search about maybe motherboard of a computer. So a motherboard of a computer looks like this. It is a component that is found inside the systems unit. So it looks like this. Some of the images you see there for a motherboard, and the motherboard, it has those parts I was writing, like the CMOS battery, the computer ports, memory slots, RAM, etc. So a motherboard, in most cases, it can look like this one you're seeing here. So a motherboard has those parts. RAM, memory slots are here, etc ports are behind here, etc etc. So that's how a computer motherboard looks like. So the question wanted those components. And part B, state two functions of the device given in the image below. So first of all, the image below is a systems unit, and they're asking the two major functions of that device. So the two major functions of that device of the systems unit, a mistake a learner would make here is calling this one a CPU. That is not a CPU. A CPU is just a chip found inside that box. So this box is called a systems unit. So some of the major functions, one is that systems unit is used to connect the monitor via VGA, HDMI for display. Yeah, a systems unit can connect to your monitor via this cable VGA or HDMI for display. And also, a systems unit can allow the connection of peripherals like keyboards, mice, etc. So the peripherals can be connected to that systems unit. Those are some of the two major functions of a systems unit. And part C of that question was state any one use of ICT in entertainment. So ICTs like gaming consoles are used in playing video games. ICTs like speakers are used for music at parties, etc. etc. They wanted one use there. Now that was number one of that paper. Number two of that very paper, number two was state any two devices that can be used in a banking sector rather than a computer. So there are many devices that are used in banking sectors rather than a computer, and one of them is an ATM machine, automated teller machine, and another one could be a biometric device. Those are fingerprint scanners that are found in banks. Even printers can be used in banks as devices apart from a computer. So that was number two, part A. Now these biometric scanners, if I can go back to my Google, biometric scanners, I'm talking of something like this, biometric scanners in banks. Yeah, ones here where users put their fingers for approval, for security purposes, etc. etc. That was number two, part A. Then part B of number two, suggest any area where the camera can be used as a solution to society problems. So the first area I suggested where a camera can be used for solution security purposes, it is a school. That is in the education sector. Cameras can be used in schools for security purposes. Yeah, even on roads. Cameras can be used on roads for security purposes. That is the transport sector. Part C, name any one ICT service that may be offered in rural areas or in village areas or in remote areas. So education and skills development, that is online learning, can be offered in rural areas. It's an ICT service that can be offered in rural areas. Someone can set up a cafe where students, where pupils can access online learning services. So the service that can be offered in rural areas, that is education and skills development, and it's all done online, e-learning. 3. Distinguish between updating and upgrading of a software on a computer. That's a very common question that is always asked in theory exams. So the difference between upgrading and updating, it's what was required here. And I started with updating, and I said that updating involves downloading new features or patches in a software. When a software is updated, it means there are new features that have been added in that software. There are new patches. A patch is just an addition in a newly updated software. Take an example of WhatsApp. If you update your WhatsApp to a new version, chances are high you're going to get new features there or patches in the new WhatsApp. That's the meaning of update. It involves downloading new features in a software. You just add in new features in a software. Then upgrading. Now upgrading, it means that you're changing the entire software or system to a completely new one. You change the entire software to a completely new one. Take an example of changing from Windows 10 to Windows 11, of changing from Windows 7 to Windows 10. That's the meaning of upgrade. You change the entire system to a completely new one, which is not the case with update. For update, you just add in a few patches in a software. You make updates there. And part B, give 2 reasons why an operating system may be updated. Why would you update an operating system? Yeah, why would you update an operating system? 1, to enhance security. Whenever you add new patches in an operating system or in a software, it means you're going to fix vulnerabilities. When a software is outdated, chances are high that your security is not that okay. But when you make updates, it means you've boosted your security. You've fixed vulnerabilities in your software. Next is it improves performance. When you update a software, the performance is going to be improved. And then also, you're going to add new features and functionality to a software. Part C states any one error that may occur during the booting process. Booting just means switching on your computer. But here they wanted some of the errors that can occur during the booting process. The first error that could occur when you're turning on your computer is failure to find a bootable device. At times, my computer or your computer may fail to locate a bootable device. A bootable device, it's the hardware where the OS, the operating system, is installed, like the hard disk. If the hard disk is not found, it means the booting process is going to be affected. Another error that may occur during the booting process is OS not found, operating system not found. And the last one I wrote is BSOD, which means blue screen of death. It's also an error that may occur during booting. So BSOD, blue screen of death in computers, something like that. If you've ever seen something like that, it's an error that could occur during the booting process. It's a blue screen of death, BSOD. So that was it with number 3. So I've done 1, 2, 3. As I'm heading to 4 in the same Wakissha theory paper that was done last week. It's what I'm trying to do in this video tutorial, and it's going to be important for learners towards national exams or towards you name. 4. A file stored on a hard disk has 400 kbs. When it was sent to me, it was 60 kbs. Suggest 2 factors of what may have happened. Suggest 2 factors of what may have happened. In other words, they were asking us that a file stored on that disk is 400 kbs, but when I received it, it was 60 kbs. So, what factors may have led to the file expanding from 60 kbs to 400 kbs? Now, the first factor was why do files expand in size? The first reason is embedded fonts. Embedded fonts, it means changing the font or changing the look of a file. Whenever you change the fonts, the font styles, the font colors, etc., the font sizes of a file, it's going to expand in size. That is one reason. Yeah, of course, when you change them, you save. It means the file is going to be expanding. Even sorry, even attaching other files, If you attach other files onto a file, it means the file is going to expand in size. Even excess formatting. When you do a lot of formatting to a file, changing it, it means it's going to also expand in size. Part B was state the term that may be used to group together scattered data on a hard disk and place it in a single place. So that term was called disk defragmentation. Yeah, you collect the fragments that are scattered into a single place. It's called disk defragmentation. Part C, give two advantages of defragmentation on your computer system. So the answer was in the next part. What are the advantages of disk defragmentation on your computer system? Number one, it's going to boost the computer performance. And then it's going to make file access faster. You're going to easily access your files. And three, it's going to extend your hard drive lifespan. Hard disks have lifespans. So whenever you do disk defragmentation, it could extend your hard drive lifespan. You can have your hard drive for like 5 years to 10 years without having any issues if you do disk defragmentation. 5 of the same paper, you are given the location of a file as follows. So the location they give us is this, that d // class / drive / application .txt. And they're asking us, identify the drive where the file application is stored. So the answer was D // and then slash. The drive is the first letter that appears in the file path or in this location. So the D // it's the drive. The file is found on D, the partition of the hard disk D. Yeah, and then name any subdirectory in the text expression. Now a subdirectory is just a sub folder within another folder. Now for our case, class is a folder, but drive is a folder within class. So drive is the subdirectory, and application.txt is the file because it appears as the last feature. It's a file, and drive is a folder within class. So drive qualifies to be a subdirectory. Part 3 of the same question is name the term used to represent the whole text expression showing the location of the file. So that is a file path as I head to part B of number 5. Give the name of the file for the given file extension. So GIF is just a graphics interchange format. The name of the file, it can be a static image or it can be a short image. A GIF, a slow motion image, a small image, static image, or a short image. So GIF graphics interchange format, it's holding that file. It's an extension holding that file. A static image, a short image, a slow motion image, and then MP3, that's an audio file, as we head to number 6 of the same paper. Number 6, name two types of processors that may be found in a computer. So a computer can have Intel processors, very common. A computer can have graphics processing unit, it's also a processor. A computer can have a Pentium processor, CPU, etc. etc. Part B, state two factors that may affect the processor's performance. So what affects the processor's performance? So a processor may be affected in its performance through cache memory. If cache memory becomes too much into the processor, the speeds are going to be affected. Cache memory is just a small amount of high speed processing RAM, continuously accessed memory. So if that memory piles up, it's going to affect the processor performance. Even the core numbers affect the processor performance. If you have maybe core i3, uh, the lesser the numbers, then the processor's performance is going to be affected. And the more the numbers, the processor will be okay. Core i7 cannot be compared to Core i3. Core i9 cannot be compared to Core i3. So core numbers also affect processor's performance. Then lastly, at number 6, state the type of memory that is embedded within a microprocessor. My answer there was RAM. RAM is a memory that is found in a microprocessor. 7. A student has a flash disk of 300 a student has a flash disk of 3600 MBs. Now that is 3.6 GBs, if you can compute that quickly. And then they're telling us that he would like to copy several files from the hard disk totaling to 60 GBs. They want to transfer 6 GBs. Calculate the extra space he will need to copy all the files. So far they have 3.6 GBs and they want to transfer files of 6 GBs. Yeah, so what extra space do they need? I simply got 6 GBs minus 3.6 GBs, which they have so far, and my answer was 2.4 GBs. That means they need 2400 MBs needed to copy all the files. So that is 7. Still, I'm at 7. Give one example of a storage media that uses light during writing. That is a compact disc or DVDs or Blu-rays. 8. Number 8. A microprocessor running at 2 clock cycles per instruction and the number of instructions per second is 10 to the power 6. Determine the clock speed in Hz. So a microprocessor is first of all running at 2 clock cycles per instruction. And they're telling us that and the number of instructions per second is 10 to the power 6. So 10 to the power 6 means that this processor is going to have 1 million instructions per second. And each instruction requires 2 cycles. Each instruction is going to require 2 cycles because they're telling us that the processor has 2 clock cycles. And each instruction is going to require 2 cycles. So, but within 1 second, it's going to have 1 million instructions. So I simply got the 2 times the 10 to the power 6. I got 2 million megahertz. But the question required hertz. So I simply converted 2 million megahertz to, I simply, actually this is 2 million. I got 2 times 10 to the power 6. Then I got 2 million. So 2 million, it's 2 million hertz. The answer should be in hertz, but 2 million hertz is equivalent to 2 megahertz. So the answer that was required out of a learner here was 2 million hertz. 2 times 10 to the power 6, you get 2 million hertz. That's the answer to number 8. Part A. Part B. Define an instruction cycle. An instruction cycle is simply the basic process the CPU follows to execute instructions. Instruction cycle is those are steps a CPU follows to execute instructions. Fetching, decoding, and encoding. Those are just cycles, instruction cycle. Then use the given list below to select the smallest unit of data which can be stored. So kilobyte, byte, bit, MB. The smallest unit there was a bit. 9. Set the type of software that is designed to control the operation of a computer. That's an operating system. And give an example of a low-level language. A low-level language, an example of a low-level language can be Let me see here. I could use this as an example. A utility program, there are many utilities. An antivirus is a utility. Disk defragmenter is a utility. Backup utilities, etc. etc. Low level languages, if I could use my Google here, low levels. Low level languages, the most common example of low level languages, there is um, low level language examples. Yeah, uh, machine language, assembly language, those are low level languages. So machine language was the best example at low level language where zeros and ones are very common in the code. But high level languages are those languages that are close to human language like Python, Java, etc. etc. C. Name two types of operating system interfaces which are available to the user. An operating system is going to have a graphical user interface and a command line interface. 10. State true or false in the table corresponding to the given statement that a program is a set of instructions. That is true. COBOL is a low-level language. That is false. A process is a program in execution. True. An operating system is an application software. That is false. An antivirus can create documents. False. Device drivers are managed by the OS. True. 11. Number 11. Uh, Explain how the following professionals can apply ICT to improve on their service delivery. So how can teachers apply ICT to improve on their service delivery? The answer is teachers can apply online learning, that is using internet and socials plus YouTube for their lesson deliveries. Then another one was a doctor. So doctors can utilize internet for diagnosis research and communication with their clients or patients. Yeah, that's how they can use ICT to improve on their service delivery. And part B, mention one health issue that may arise due to prolonged use of computers. There are many issues, but I just came up with RSI, which is a repetitive strain injury that affects joints when you use computers in a wrong sitting posture or a wrong standing posture. 12. A secondary school has reported several issues in its computer laboratory, including slow booting of computers, accumulation of dust inside the machines, unlabeled power cables, and regular students misusing of equipment. As a senior 6 ICT student assigned to assist in restoring proper laboratory function, Part A outline two preventive maintenance practices you would implement to promote the long-term functionality of computers. So what are some of the preventive measures you can put in place to bring about long-term functionality of computers? If you want your computers to have a long lifespan, what do? Number one, you do computer servicing after a stipulated time. You service computers. Then you label or you embroider and lock computer equipment using seals. So that can also help in maintaining your computers for quite some time. Embroidering means you label the computers. Even you lock them with some kind of seals. Part B, identify three practical measures to secure the computer laboratory. Practical measures or physical measures. So the first one is you install CCTV cameras, use padlocks, strong and alarm padlocks. Then you employ security guards. 13. Explain the meaning of the term user interface. Now, user interface, it just means it's just a means by which a user interacts with the computer system. It's a user interface. How a user is going to interact with the computer system, it's a user interface. Now, what you see at your display right now is a user interface, is a graphical user interface. How a user is going to interact with a computer. For example, how I interact with my computer, how I open this maybe, how I check whatever I want with my computer. You see, how you interact with your computer is a user interface. You look at the properties of your computer, you click anywhere, you click an icon, you click anywhere you want. That's a user interface. It means how, it means how a user is going to interact with their computer or with the computer system. That's a user interface. Then part B is describe briefly the use of the following GUI features. So what is the use of the following GUI features? The first one was a checkbox. I was trying to draw a simple diagram there. I'll use Google to showcase that. So what does a checkbox do? Now a checkbox, it's a small box on a form into which a tick or other mark is entered as a response to a question. Yeah, so if I can use Google again and then I type uh, checkbox, checkbox. Yeah, a checkbox is going to look like that. So a checkbox, like I said, it's a small box on a form in which a tick or other mark is entered to respond to a question. Like if you put a tick, you're going to respond. If you don't, you've not responded. So a checkbox is going to look like that. An example here, this is a checkbox where someone is maybe accepting and here they are not accepting. So a checkbox looks like that. Then a radio button. A radio button is a GUI feature that allows users to select one option from a list. Yeah, it's a GUI feature that allows users select one option from a list of choices. Yeah, it also allows you to select one option from a list of choices, and a radio button is going to look like this. Yeah, this one is very common. It's also common with female, male. Even this one is a radio button, so it allows you uh, select one option from a list of choices, like something I was drawing here. Then a text box, it's a GUI element where users can type or paste text. In most cases, it's rectangular in form. It allows users type or paste text there. It's called a text box. So a text box is going to look like this. In most cases, a text box, a common text box is maybe if I can put in forms. Yeah, like this, a text box where a user can type or paste text. So those are some of the features in a GUI interface. A GUI interface, it is a type of interface that we always use on computers. It's the most commonly used interface. It enables us interact with computers by use of icons, menus, checkboxes, radio buttons, text boxes. Whenever you're using a computer, whenever you switch on a computer and you try to open various software as you're using a GUI, and chances are high you're going to encounter these features that were asked at number 13. Yeah, as I head to number 14 of this very paper, number 14 is right here. Number 14 is a company is planning um, to automate its business processes using appropriate software. And then they're telling us as an ICT consultant, advise the company by, so the company is trying to automate whatever they're doing with ICT, and they are trying to consult you through the following steps or questions. Part A, recommend two types of application softwares that would be suitable for managing sales and employee records. Some of the softwares that can be used to manage sales, number one is a software called Salesforce. It can also be managed, it can help you in managing sales. Another one is called HubSpot. Database management systems, that is Access, can also be used to manage your sales and um, data in a company in case you want to automate whatever you're doing. Number 15 of the very paper. Number 15 is differentiate between a web, oh sorry, before I got number 15, I missed out on part B. Part B was, how would the above software improve the company's efficiency? If you're using those softwares above, how do they improve the company's efficiency? One, they bring about improved data retrieval. You can easily look for your data and get it. That's the meaning of data retrieval. Two, they improve on security. They will improve on your security. Your data is secure provided you employ strong passwords and biometrics to authentication in your softwares. 15. Differentiate between a web browser and a web server. A web browser is a software application that enables users to access and view web pages on the internet. That's what a web browser is going to do. It's going to allow you access and view web pages on the net. That's the meaning of a web browser. And the examples of a browser, we have Google Chrome, Opera Mini, Brave, Internet Explorer, etc. Now, what of a web server? A web server is a system. It can be a system, it can be a software, it can be hardware that delivers web content. For it, it's going to help you in delivering web content. In other words, it delivers web content to the browser so that you can view that web content. And then I think in the bracket here I was putting that browsers send signals to servers. You see that a browser is going to send a signal to a server. Servers include Apache. I think this is the most common server, a web server, Apache, and NGINX. So a web server is going to, it's a system, a software, a hardware that delivers web content to the web browser. And then part B, given the following email address, info@bbs.co.ug. And then they're asking us, what is the meaning of the following parts? So in other words, they're asking us, what are some of the parts of an email address? Then part I, info. Info is the first part of the email address, that's the username, and the next part is bbs.co.ug. Of course, the last part of an email is a domain name. There's that middle part that's having the @ symbol, that's the @ symbol that separates the username from the domain name. In this case, they wanted two parts. Info is the username and bbs.co.ug is the domain name. Part C of that question, give one example of a browser that can be used to read mails sent to the above address. Google Chrome can do that, even Opera Mini can do that. 16. A secondary school in a rural area intends to introduce e-learning by connecting the school to the internet. As an ICT advisor, outline three key considerations the school must take into account when choosing an internet service provider. In other words, the question wanted learners to give some of the factors you consider when choosing an internet service provider. Now, an internet service provider is just a company that provides internet signals to individuals, or a group of people or a company. So, uh, an ISP provides internet services to individuals or to companies. So, what are some of the factors that are considered when choosing an ISP? The first factor is internet speeds and bandwidth. You consider their speeds. Yeah, you consider the speeds of the ISP. If the ISP has superb speeds like 4G or 5G, you go with them. Then reliability and uptime. Have they been in place for some time? Are they reliable? Uptime. Are they always, are they 24/7 with us? Do they provide connection 24/7? And then also customer support and pricing. Do they provide customer care? How are their charges? etc. etc. Then the next part of that question was suggest two advantages of cloud computing. I think it was supposed to be part B. There was a mistake there. Suggest two advantages of cloud computing. The first advantage of cloud computing is increased flexibility. Now, cloud computing simply means delivering services over the internet. Services like storage are delivered over the net. Instead of someone moving along with a flash, they keep whatever they want on the internet. So, cloud computing means delivering of services like storage, softwares, etc. over the net. And the advantages of cloud computing are increased flexibility. Yeah, it is flexible. You can access your files online on any computer if you want. It is flexible enough. You don't need to move around with a flash, with a compact disk, with an external hard drive. You just need to move around freely and access a computer with internet. So it's flexible enough. Even it's cost saving. It's kind of cheaper, and then it is having better security. Remember, you're securing your drive with a strong password. Yeah, that was number 16. As I head to number 17 of that paper. Number 17 of that very paper is right here. Number 17 was explain the meaning of virtual reality. Virtual reality, it is a computer generated simulation of 3D dimensional environment which users interact with after creating an immersive experience that replaces a real world. Keywords here. Now, some of the keywords we can pick here is that virtual reality is a computer generated simulation or a computer generated environment. Yeah, a computer generated environment. In most cases, it is 3D and it's going to enable users interact with it like as if they're in the real world. So the keywords here, one is computer generated simulation. Two, um, it's going to create an immersive experience. Three, users can interact with it like as if they are in the real world. Back to my Google, if I can use my Google here, search for virtual reality. Virtual reality, yeah, something like this. Now, If you can look at this individual here, what this individual is doing, this one here, what they're doing, an environment has been created. They are playing a game, but an environment has been created and it's in 3D and it's enabling them interact with it because it's creating an I called it, it's creating an immersive experience, like as if in the real world. So that's the meaning of virtual reality. It means um, an environment is created and it's enabling someone interact with it through an immersive experience, like as if they're in the real world. So the images I'm displaying here are trying to explain that virtual reality terminology. People are in an immersive world, 3D simulation through virtual reality. It's like as if they're in the real world. That's the meaning of virtual reality. That was number 17. As I head to part B, mention any two areas where virtual reality is applied: entertainment, engineering, healthcare. C. State the role of the following careers in the ICT field. Software engineer. A software engineer is going to design, develop, test, and maintain software applications and systems. Software engineers they don't only create, they design, that is creating, they develop, they test, and they maintain software applications and systems. Database administrator, DBA, database administrator, a professional who manages and maintains computer databases. So they manage and maintain computer or organization databases. 18. Computer viruses are one of the security risks that can lead to data loss. Yeah. Part A, identify any two devices that can aid transmission of computer viruses from one computer to another. So some of the devices that can aid transmission of viruses from one computer to another. The first one is a flash disk. A flash disk, actually, it's one of the device. Actually, it's the most device that transfers a lot of computer viruses. Then also, an external hard drive can also um, transmit computer viruses. So it's better for a learner to indicate infected flash disk, infected external hard drive, infected CDs or DVDs, though they are not very common, but they can also transmit viruses. So label infected at the device you give, because if you just write a flash disk, it means a flash disk is not infected. So a flash disk that is not infected cannot transmit a computer virus. Yeah. Then part B of number 18, suggest any two ways through which viruses can be controlled. Viruses can be controlled through having updated antiviruses like Kaspersky. That's how you can control viruses. You don't stop at having an antivirus at your computer. Make sure it is also updated. I've just talked about updating in this very video, the meaning of updating. Then also being conscious about downloads made, you know, it's one way of controlling viruses that may attack your computer. Be conscious about the downloads that you make. Think before clicking while you're online, maybe. Part C, identify any one other risk that can lead to data loss in an organization. So what can lead to data loss in an organization? Human error. Yeah, you can make an error and then the organization can lose data. Another one is theft. Maybe hard drives can be stolen, or external hard drives or flash disks. It can also lead to data loss. Also, hardware failure, computer failure can lead to data loss. Yeah, and 19 of this very paper, number 19, use the figure below to answer the questions that follow. So the figure is there, it's in form of a table, letters on top and numbers on the sides. Identify the appropriate or the application program that is appropriate to manipulate this data. The answer was Microsoft Excel because of the numbers on top, the letters on top, the column letters on top, and the row numbers on the sides. Excel was the answer there. It was not database because database is not having those numbers, is not having the letters actually on the top. Yeah, that was part A of number 19. While I head to part B of number 19, that how many columns do you see in the figure above? There were six. There were six. That is A, B, C, D, E, F. Those are columns. There are six. And then state the formula that can be used to find the total number of points collected by all houses. The formula to display the total number of points collected by all houses, it is equals B2 plus C2 plus D2. That's a formula that can return total. And then, of course, you drag downwards for the answers. And then, next is what function should be applied to compute the position column. So my function was there, equals rank, open brackets. I'm using E2 to E4. Then I'm using it because I was basing on the total in E2 to give position. So total is in E2 to E4. That's why here I wrote equals rank, open bracket, E2, comma. I locked E2, $E $2 to $E $4, comma 0. Because I was basing on total to return rank. That requires a learner to know the rank function practically on a computer. Lastly, at number 19, what function would be applied to find the highest point scored in swimming? The highest point scored in swimming, it could be computed here because swimming is in this column, equals max, open bracket, D2, swimming starts at D2 and it stops at D4. That's why I wrote equals max D2 to D4. And lastly, number 20 of this very paper, Wakissha Senior 6 MOOCs Theory Sub ICT 2025. Number 20 was a school secretary was given a report to typeset to be handed over to the head teacher. So during the process of typesetting or typing, some words were underlined with a red wavy line, while others were underlined with a green wavy line. Help her understand their meaning. So part I, red wavy line meaning, it means that there is a wrong spelling at the area of indication. So if the word has a red wavy line under it in word processing, it means your spelling is probably wrong at the area of indication. So that red wavy line, if I can open my Google, red wavy line in MS Word. Yeah, something like that. A red wavy line, it means a wrong spelling. If you see those red wavy lines indicating that word, it means a wrong spelling. Then a green wavy underline, it means wrong grammar at area of indication. Yeah, a green wavy line, it means wrong grammar. So green wavy line, if you have a green wavy line like this, wrong grammar, the spelling is not wrong, but the grammar is wrong. Maybe here someone is starting a sentence with a small letter and they're not leaving space between the two letters, I and S. Yeah, so a green wavy line, it means wrong grammar at the area of indication. Part B of number 20 suggests two formatting features of word processing. There are quite a number of formatting features in word processing, like font colors, font size, font style, changing case. Case means capital letters, small letters. And formatting features, it just means that those are features in Word that change the appearance of text. Just the appearance of text, not the entire text, but just the appearance of text. That's the meaning of formatting features in Word. Unlike editing features that change the entire look of a text, they change the entire completely. They change the entire text. Editing features. Editing features they can include spelling checker, what else? Grammar checker, find and replace, etc. etc. And part D of number 20. Identify one commonly used word processor in schools. The word processor that is commonly used in schools, that is Microsoft Word 2024. A word processor simply looks like that. That's called a word processor, a program that enables a user create, edit, format, save, print electronic documents on a computer. So that was it with the Wakissha Theory Paper 2025 for Senior 6 that was done last week. This video is so important to Senior 6 learner who is going to sit for their final exams in a few months to come, like 2 months or less. This videos like these are very important to those learners. So if you're watching this, if you're watching tutorials like these, simply sit back, try to see what I'm explaining, rewind if I'm fast somewhere. If you don't understand something, you rewind and watch again. You can you can catch up with whatever I was trying to explain in this paper. So that is it with the entire paper. I've done all the 20 questions in this tutorial and it's just a 1 hour tutorial. So simply sit back and watch whatever I was explaining. Like I said, the video is having a cover photo that is Wakissha Subsidiary ICT Theory Paper 1 approach for August 2025. So many videos are to come about mocks. You can inbox me, you can comment, you can call the numbers you find at the channel. I will personally react to what you say. So that has been it with the tutorial. That is it with the tutorial. Back to my channel. I was talking about my channel in the beginning and I said that I've done some videos about mocks for this very year. Actually, this very month, I've done a lot of videos concerning mocks straight from this very video that I'm recording up to these other videos that I've uploaded. Some of them I uploaded them yesterday, and then these ones are for 6 days ago. I've done resource videos from resource mocks like this one here, etc. etc. So feel free to go to my channel and watch whatever I've been doing about those various mock exams. So that has been it with whatever I wanted to share with you today. And um, like I said, for queries, for questions, you know, you could inbox, you could contact those numbers. Uh, you will directly talk to me. You could contact those numbers there. You'll be directly contacting me. So we can catch up from those numbers there. That has been it with whatever I wanted to share in this tutorial. Thanks for the subscribers, for the likes, for the comments, for the shares, and for whatever you're doing for my channel. Thanks for all that. A nice time, and bye bye.